The kitchen smelled like burnt coffee and resentment. Mom stood at the counter, arms crossed, watching me work at their dining table like I'd committed some crime by existing in her space. "Some of us have real jobs, Marcus," she said, voice dripping with disdain. "Not just playing on computers all day." I didn't look up from my laptop. Just kept typing, reviewing the final acquisition documents my lawyer had sent over. The family regional bank, Henderson Community Bank, the one Dad had worked at for 30 years, the one that held their mortgage, their car loans, their credit cards, was about to become my property. Well, my investment firm's property. Same difference. I murmured, clicking through pages. Dad walked in, still in his bank manager uniform. Navy suit, tired eyes, the look of a man who'd spent 3 decades climbing to middle management and convinced himself it was the summit. "Marcus." He didn't greet me, just stated my name like an accusation. "Your mother says you're still here. Don't you have work?" "Working remotely today." I glanced up. "Finalizing some business deals." He snorted, pouring himself coffee. "Business deals. Right. Let me guess. Another one of your investment opportunities? Like that cryptocurrency thing you lost money on." I'd made $340,000 on that cryptocurrency thing. But I'd stopped correcting them 3 years ago when they'd made it clear my MBA from Wharton was just that fancy school that put you in debt, and my venture capital firm was basically gambling with other people's money. "Something like that," I said. My younger brother Derek breezed in, still in his scrubs from his hospital shift. The golden child. The doctor. The one who'd followed the approved path. Medical school, residency, a respectable career that made sense to them. "Marcus." Derek's smile was genuine, at least. "Didn't know you were visiting. How's the city treating you?" "Can't complain." Mom immediately brightened. "Derek, honey, are you hungry? I saved you some roast from yesterday. Let me heat it up." The same roast she told me was already gone when I'd arrived 2 hours ago. "So Marcus," Dad settled into his chair, coffee in hand, "your mother and I have been meaning to talk to you about something. Here it comes. We're getting older. Starting to think about retirement. And we thought, well, you're doing okay for yourself in the city." "Barely," Mom interjected. "I mean, you're still renting, aren't you? At your age." "I owned a penthouse condo in downtown Boston worth $2.3 million. Still renting, yes." Dad continued, "We were thinking you might want to help us out. Just until we get on our feet with retirement. Maybe $2,000 a month? We helped put you through school." "With loans I paid back myself," I said quietly. "And family helps family, Marcus. It's what we do." Dad's voice had that edge. The same edge he used to deny loan applications at the bank. Final. Authoritative. End of discussion. My phone buzzed. A text from my business partner. "Henderson acquisition cleared. Congratulations, you now own a bank." I smiled. "What's so funny?" Mom's voice was sharp. "Nothing. Just interesting timing." I looked at my father. "You said you're thinking about retirement?" "From Henderson Community Bank." "Well, yes. In a few years. They're good to me there. Steady pension benefits. Not like your volatile tech world." I clicked sign on the final document. "That's interesting because Henderson Community Bank just changed ownership about." I checked my watch, 30 seconds ago. Dad frowned. "What are you talking about? Regional banks don't just change ownership. They do when a private equity firm makes an offer the board can't refuse. Especially when that bank has been struggling with bad loans and outdated systems for the past 5 years." I turned my laptop around, showing them the acquisition announcement. Summit Ventures just acquired Henderson Community Bank for $47 million. I'm the managing partner of Summit Ventures. The silence was deafening. Derek spoke first. "Wait, you bought Dad's bank?" "My firm did, yes. We've been working on this for 8 months. Due diligence, regulatory approval, board negotiations. It closed this morning." Dad's face had gone white. You bought Henderson?" "Well, 87% controlling interest. The other 13% is held by existing shareholders." I pulled up another document. "Funny thing about acquiring a bank. You get access to all sorts of interesting information. Like customer accounts." I turned the screen toward them again. Their account. The one Dad had assured me they were struggling with. $340,000 in savings. $180,000 in various CDs and money market accounts. Your house is paid off. You have no debt. Your retirement accounts are fully funded. I looked at my father. You're not struggling. You've never been struggling. Mom's hand went to her throat. How did you can't just look at our accounts. I can when I own the bank. And when those accounts show a pattern of, let's call them interesting transactions. I pulled up more documents. Like the $50,000 you transferred to Derek last year for his practice startup costs. The $30,000 loan to cousin Jennifer. The $25,000 for Aunt Patricia's emergency medical bills. I looked at Derek. How much of that 50 grand did you actually need? Derek had the grace to look uncomfortable. I mean, the practice needed capital. You're employed by a hospital. You don't have a practice. It was for equipment. For when I eventually start. Right. I turned back to my parents. So when you told me you were struggling and needed help, what you really meant was you wanted me to subsidize your generosity to everyone else. Everyone except me. That's not fair, Dad said. We've always treated you differently than Derek. Yes. I'm aware. I closed the laptop. Every family gathering it's the same. Derek the doctor. Derek the success. Derek who followed the plan. And Marcus the disappointment. Marcus who wastes money on fancy schools and risky ventures. Marcus who should really get a stable job. We never said that, Mom protested weakly. You said it at Christmas. Thanksgiving. My birthday. Derek's birthday. Easter. Every single time I've seen you for the past 5 years. My voice stayed level. You know what's funny? My risky ventures have netted me about $8.3 million in the past 3 years. My firm manages $340 million in assets. I employ 23 people. But because you don't understand what I do, it doesn't count as real success. Dad's jaw worked. If you're so successful, why are you renting? Because I own properties in 3 other cities that I rent out for profit. The Boston condo I rent is from my own property management LLC. It's a tax strategy. But you've never asked about that. You've just assumed. Derek stood up. Look, Marcus, I think we all need to calm down. I am calm. In fact, I'm perfectly calm. Because here's what's going to happen. I stood gathering my laptop. As the new owner of Henderson Community Bank, I'll be implementing some changes. Updating systems, restructuring management, improving efficiency. There will be personnel evaluations. Dad's face went from white to red. You can't fire me. I have tenure. You have 30 years of service. That's not tenure, Dad. That's just time. And your performance reviews show you've been coasting for the past decade. Denying loans based on gut feelings instead of actual risk assessment. Missing quarterly targets. Resistant to new technology. I paused at the door. I'm not going to fire you. But your new manager might have some questions about your performance. Especially when they see you approved a $180,000 home equity loan for yourself at 2.1% interest. Well below market rate. That's going to raise some compliance red flags. Mom gasped. That loan we needed. I know what you needed it for. Home renovations. Very nice ones. I saw the contractor invoices in the bank's records. I looked at Derek. Meanwhile, when I asked for a reference for my first business loan 6 years ago, Dad told the lending officer I was high risk and unstable. Derek's eyes widened. Dad, you didn't. I did what I thought was right, Dad said stiffly. I was trying to protect you from failure. You were trying to keep me in a box you understood. A 9-to-5 job, a predictable life, a path you could control. I opened the door. Well, I'm out of that box now. And ironically, I'm now in a position to put you in one. What do you want? Dad's voice was tight. Money? Is that what this is about? Fine. We'll give you money. I don't want your money. I have money. I pulled out my phone showing them my banking app. The one from my personal account at a different bank. The balance showed $4.7 million. Mom actually stumbled backward. What I want is for you to stop treating me like a failure. Stop acting like my success doesn't count because you don't understand it. Stop using me as the cautionary tale while praising Derek for following the safe path. I looked at Derek. No offense. None taken, Derek said quietly. They do that. And I want you to stop asking me for money while pretending you're struggling. If you want to help Derek or Jennifer or Patricia, that's your choice. But don't lie to me about your situation to guilt me into funding it. Dad stood, his manager voice coming out. Now you listen here. No, you listen. Starting Monday, Henderson Community Bank operates under new management. New policies. New compliance standards. That sweetheart loan you gave yourself? It gets restructured to market rates or paid off in full within 90 days. Your performance gets evaluated by actual metrics, not by how long you've been warming a chair. I softened slightly. I'm not trying to destroy you, Dad. I'm trying to run a profitable bank. But you need to understand, I'm not the failure you've been treating me as. I'm successful. Very successful. And I got there despite your protection, not because of it. 2 weeks later, I sat in my new office at Henderson Community Bank's headquarters. Corner office, 20th floor, view of the river. The bank's board had appointed me interim chairman while we searched for a permanent CEO to run day-to-day operations. My phone rang. Derek. Hey, he said. I wanted to apologize. For not speaking up more. For letting them, you know. I know. Dad's pretty shaken up. The new regional manager had him in compliance training all week. Mom's barely speaking to anyone. And you? I asked. Honestly, I'm relieved. They've been pressuring me to ask you for more money. For a house down payment this time. I kept telling them no, but... He sighed. They don't make it easy. No, they don't. Silence on the line. Then, that 50 grand they gave me? I only asked for 20. They insisted on more, said I should treat myself after all my hard work in residency. I tried to give it back, but they wouldn't take it. I know, I said. I saw the wire transfer notes. For our golden boy. Literally what Mom wrote in the memo field. Derek laughed, but it sounded pained. I'm sorry, Marcus. For real. You deserved better. Yeah. I did. Another pause. Are you really going to make Dad restructure that loan? Already did. Market rate is 6.8%. He's paying 6.8% now. And he's being evaluated like every other employee. Fairly, but actually evaluated. He's furious. He'll survive. He's got $340,000 in savings to cushion his wounded pride. I looked out the window at the city below. You know what the funny thing is? If they'd just been honest with me, if they'd asked without the guilt trip and the lies about struggling, I probably would have helped them. Not with monthly payments, but with actual financial planning. Investment advice. Things I'm actually good at. They know that now, Derek said quietly. Mom cried for 2 days when she realized how much you're actually worth. Not because of the money, I think. Because she realized she didn't know you at all. That's on them, not me. I know. He hesitated. Family dinner is next Sunday. Mom wanted me to ask if you'd come. She promises no comments about your job or money or anything. She just wants to try. I thought about it. About years of dismissal and condescension. About finally being seen, even if it took buying their bank to make it happen. Maybe, I said. Tell her I'll think about it. Fair enough. Derek paused. For what it's worth. I always thought you were doing great. I just didn't know how to say it without sounding like I was taking sides. You were taking sides. You just chose the comfortable side. Yeah. I did. I'm sorry for that too. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet office, looking at the Henderson Community Bank logo on the wall. My bank now. The same bank that had denied me that business loan reference 6 years ago. My assistant knocked. Mr. Henderson, the new compliance officer, is here with the monthly report. Send them in. The future was uncertain. Maybe my parents would learn. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe Derek and I would rebuild our relationship. Maybe we wouldn't. But one thing was certain. I'd never again be the family member they dismissed as a failure. I'd made sure of that. The price of being seen was higher than I'd wanted to pay. But looking out at my bank, my city, my success built on my own terms, it was worth every penny.